This is Wes Studi, full-blooded Cherokee Native American actor and producer. You'll recognize him from the Kevin Costner movie, Dances with Wolves. Wes tells a story about a filming scene where he is on his horse riding around actor Robert Pasquarelli, who was lying on the ground. And Wes was just riding in a circle around him, shooting arrows into him. He said that when the director finally yelled cut, Robert jumped up and started yanking off his clothes. He had been laying on a pile of red ants all that time without saying a word. It was so bad that they had to take him to the hospital for treatment. In 1992, Wes will play as Moga, a bloodthirsty Huron in The Last of the Mohicans. Set during the French and Indian War, although the action was supposed to have occurred in Upper New York, the filming location was on the Biltmore Estate, just south of Asheville, North Carolina. The next year, in 1993, Wes will star as the Apache leader in Geronimo, an American Legend. This movie is based loosely on the fictional account of the Apache Wars and how Charles Wingate convinced Apache leader Geronimo to surrender. Studi says that Geronimo's kin was on the set, and they all had different ideas of how he should be played. Although the movie received mixed reviews, the Indian community had found a hero, Wes Studi. What the Native American population didn't know was that Studi had served in combat during the Vietnam War and knew what it meant to be in battle. They also didn't know that he had been fighting for Native American rights long before becoming a Hollywood actor. Back in 1972, he had joined the American Indian movement and participated in the Trail of Broken Treaties protests that ended in occupation of the Bureau of Indian Affairs building in Washington, D.C. And in February 1973, members of the American Indian movement seized and occupied the town of Wounded Knee on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. The siege lasted for 71 days, in which Wes Studi was one of the protesters arrested by the Federal Marshals Service. He was a native-born Oklahoman, the same as his fellow actor Will Sampson. Wes was born in the community of No Fire Hollow in Cherokee County, within 50 miles of the birthplace of Sampson. Now, Sampson is the one who played Chief Bromley in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He was already an established star at the time Studi decided to try acting. Although Wes was 17 years younger than Sampson, both actors had been instrumental in forcing Hollywood to use Native American actors in films that call for Indian parts. Studi was born Wesley Studi on December 17, 1947, to Andy and Maggie Studi. Andy worked as a ranch hand and Maggie as a housewife. Wes had 3 brothers, Bob, Andy Lee, and Calvin. One of the things that helped Wes in Hollywood to get started was the fact that he could speak his native tongue, which made films more realistic. Wes only spoke his native language, Cherokee, up until he entered school at the age of 5. His aunt felt that he should go off to grammar school to learn English. Within a year, he was speaking English, and when he returned back home, he had to learn Cherokee all over again, because that's what his family spoke. When Wes was in the 3rd grade, his family moved to Avolt on the Osage Reservation, the same reservation in earlier years that Ben Johnson was born and raised on. Wes attended Chocolate Indian Agricultural High School, located close to the Kansas state line, again away from home. Being a vocational school, Wes majored in dry cleaning. To him, dry cleaning made a lot of sense. He'd be able to get a job in later life, and in the meantime, it was a way to make money from the other students. Everyone liked their clothes clean. In 1964, at the age of 17, he graduated from high school. That's when he joined the National Guard and eventually ended up in Vietnam. In 1974, after returning home from service, Wes met and married Rebecca Graves, a Cherokee school teacher. During this time, Wes found a job with the Tulsa Indian News, a bilingual paper published by the Cherokee Nation. During this time, they bought a ranch outside of Tulsa. And in 1976, Wes and Rebecca had a son they named Daniel. In 1980, they had a daughter they named Leah. 2 years after Leah was born in 1982, Rebecca and Wes divorced. Rebecca was actually Wes's second marriage. Little is known about his first wife. He said the marriage was a joke and not a real marriage and not worth mentioning. After his divorce from Rebecca, Wes entered Tulsa Junior College on the GI Bill and joined the Indian Theater Company. There he was introduced to acting. And in 1984, he got his first paid part as a stage actor in Black Elk Speaks. The star was Will Sampson and David Carradine. Wes said that he didn't think they even knew he was there. During college is when he joined the American Indian movement and started protesting for Indian rights. After college, Wes goes back to ranching for a while. He makes money as a professional horse trainer. And in 1986, Studi gives up ranching in order to move to California and try his hand at acting. For the first couple of years, it was a struggle. He managed to get a little work doing commercials. But in 1988, at the age of 41, Studi appeared in his first film, The Trial of Standing Bear. It led to Pow Wow Highway, and it led to his big break as the Pawnee Warrior in Dances with Wolves. In the same year, in 1988, Wes met Maura Dew at a jazz club in Los Angeles. Maura said it was love at first glance for her. But it'll be 1990 when Wes and Maura are married. She had been married once before. Maura is the only child of Oscar winner Jack Alberson. In 1993, Wes will lose his dad, Andy, at the age of 63. Also in 1993, Wes and Maura will have a son they call Colin. The Studi family will move to a ranch farm outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico, where they still live. Daniel was living with Wes and Maura and Colin, and Leah lived with her mother, Rebecca. In 1996, Wes became Red Cloud in the TV movie Crazy Horse, based on the true story of the Ogallala Lakota war chief. In 2009, Wes will be in Avatar, where humans try to find a way to exist after depleting the resources on Earth. On the 26th of July, 2013, Studi was arrested for DWI when officers found him at 1 o'clock in the morning sitting at a stop sign trying to fix 2 blown-out tires. I don't think the law or Wes could ever figure out how he managed to blow out 2 front tires at the same time. That same year, Wes was inducted into the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum Hall of Western Performers in Oklahoma City. He was only the second Native American to be inducted. The next year, in 2014, he'll play the Apache chief Cochise in A Million Ways to Die in the West, that starred Seth MacFarlane as a wimpy but kind-hearted sheep herder. In 2020, Wes Studi received an honor that he deserves.
The way these people would tell it, I am absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Christian. I'd simply like to say, it's about time.
He became the first Native American to receive an honorary Academy Award for bringing public awareness to the Native American people through his acting.